Hi, we're Lauren and Craig, and we've been travelling around the UK and hailed our vintage camper van for the past 8 months. But we've just decided to catch a ferry from Scotland to Ireland for the first time. Join us as we drive along the wild Atlantic Way and explore all the hidden gems and mountains that we can find. We arrived in Northern Ireland early in the morning at the port of Larne, and then we started making our way west, stopping at sites along the way. Glenara Forest Park was our first stop, where we got to see this two-tiered waterfall, but one major thing we noticed along the coast in Northern Ireland was the height barriers in all the car parks, which was a big shame for us as a tall camper. The next day we made our way to Giant's Causeway, which is a site we've wanted to see for a long time. We soon crossed the border into Ireland, where we arrived in County Donegal, and the first thing we did was hike up Mount Errigal. The view was beautiful from the top, but we also got a really cool view from a lake down the bottom where we could see exactly where we hiked to. And then it was time for us to head to the coast and start the wild Atlantic Way. We picked the perfect beach to go to because the waves were crazy big after a day of 50-mile-per-hour winds. Just before dark, we headed up a quiet country lane to look for a place to camp. We woke up to a beautiful sunrise and had an early start as we wanted to get hiking before the cloud rolled in. Our plan was to head up Slieve, which are the second highest cliffs in Ireland. They're 600 metres high, but we wanted to take the fun way there, which is via One Man's Pass, and it's this crazy ridgeline. It was much narrower than we expected, and we didn't end up missing the clouds, so we were in thick fog for most of it. But it was really fun, and eventually we went below the cloud and got this amazing view of the cliffs. There was one more spot we wanted to see in County Donegal, which was this secret waterfall. To get to the waterfall we had to go along the shoreline, and it's only accessible at low tide. And now it's time to explore County Sligo, where the mountains are literally shaped like witches' hats. It was such a cool area, and we did this scenic loop drive where we were literally driving towards this sort of inland cliff. It was so spectacular. We also visited the highest waterfall in Ireland. It's 150 metres tall, and apparently it quite often dries out if there's not been enough rain, but there was definitely enough rain when we visited. In fact, we decided to go for a little swim when we got to the pool at the bottom. As we made our way south, we crossed another border into County Mayo. We did some nice coastal hikes and experienced some pretty strong wind, but we'll later find out this was nothing. That evening we popped into a cute little pub and enjoyed our first pint of Guinness. Next up was Achill Island, which is a really beautiful place with dramatic cliffs and idyllic beaches. It's also home to Ireland's highest cliffs at 688 metres, and we're about to make our way there. It was a really beautiful wild hike, and we didn't see a single person there. I mean, there wasn't a trail either, but it was just beautiful. The wind was absolutely gale force. You can see me struggling to do this video as my camera was shaking like mad, but we had a lot of fun playing with the wind and letting it fill our cheeks. then we took it easy and did a scenic driving tour around Achill Island.
You're psyched! You're psyched! You're absolutely psyched!
We checked out our first live music session in Ireland in the cute village of Westport. Then we started the next day with a hike up Croagh Patrick, which is Ireland's holiest mountain. Helga was not feeling very blessed on this day though, and we had to give her a bit of help. Once she was up and running, we headed to this beach to park up for the night. And we met this lovely dog who seemed to just hang out at the beach and socialise with strangers. Then it was time to venture inland, where we did this ridiculously scenic drive through a valley. We absolutely love this area of Ireland. The road skirted along the shores of this lake, and we found the most perfect spot to camp up for the night.
Fuck's sake, Craig. Bang it.
The following morning we woke early to set off on a hike up the mountains. One thing that we've noticed about these hikes in Ireland is that there's absolutely no footpaths. We're completely in the wild. So if you do venture to places like this, make sure you know how to read a map or have an app on your phone which tracks your GPS. We wouldn't do any of these hikes without that, because when you're in thick fog you have no idea where you are without this GPS. We happened to come across this sheep skeleton on the floor, so we decided to keep the skull and take it back to Helga to add to our addition that we found in Shetland. We finished up the hike with an ice cold swim in this lake before heading back to Helga for a hot cup of tea. We woke up the next morning to a freezing cold camper van where we could even see our breath. But the cold weather just meant we'd had clear skies overnight and were about to be treated with the best weather so far on this trip. Everywhere looks so beautiful in this morning golden light that we had to keep pulling over to take photos and videos. The road led us south and we crossed the border into County Galway. Our first stop was at Kylemore Abbey, where we had the most breathtaking reflections in this calm lake. It was such a perfect morning and we wanted to be everywhere at the same time, but obviously we couldn't, so we opted for a hike where we got a sea view, mountain view and lake view. It was pretty damn perfect. We decided to revisit the Abbey so we could see it in the full daylight before taking a scenic drive along this lake and pulling up for lunch with a view. We tried our best to see as much as possible, as blue skies are really rare. So we ended the day at this lovely beach where we nearly got caught out by the tides, but thanks to a guy getting periwinkles on the shoreline, he warned us to move away because the tides come in so quickly here. And our campsite for the night was at this idyllic loch which we had all to ourselves. We woke early the next day as we were about to have a long hike ahead of us along a horseshoe route where we'd climb 6 mountains. Cloud was rolling in and out throughout the day, and sometimes we were in thick fog, but when it cleared it was so beautiful. The hike ended up taking 8 hours and we only just got back before sunset. The following day we had a more relaxed adventure where we did a scenic drive along the Skye Road. Our first stop was this abandoned castle which looked mint condition from the outside, but it was pretty dilapidated inside. The scenic road led us down towards the coast and it was a really fun drive. All of the colours started to pop while we were on our drive, so we had to keep stopping to take photos and videos. We parked up by a pretty beach and we woke up early the next day so we could enjoy the sunrise. We set off on a hike up this hill to get a view of this double beach, and we met some lovely horses along the way. Oh, Jesus. I think they're friendly. Oh! We got to witness some of Ireland's tropical looking beaches before making our way to the city of Galway. It was a bit of a shock to the system being in such a busy place after exploring so many wild areas, but we really enjoyed going to the cosy pubs and having Irish coffee, Bailey's coffee, and listening to some live music. Helga experienced what it's like to be in prison, and then we made our way to County Clare. One of the main sites in County Clare, and in fact in Ireland, are the cliffs of Moher. But to be honest, we much prefer the cliffs at Slieve League in County Donegal and the ones on Achill Island in County Mayo. Moher just seems a little less impressive and way too busy with people for us. Luckily, we ended the night on a high in the little village of Doolin where we had our best live music session yet. Join us in our next video as we explore County Kerry.